Alright, we're going to begin with your tendon reflexes. Could you go ahead and open your mouth and relax your jaw for me? Okay, now we're going to move to your biceps. And I'm going to have you sit with your palms up like that. And I'm going to have you make a muscle for me. Okay, now I'm going to have you relax. Do you know the other side? Make a muscle, now relax. Okay, now I'm going to have you flip your arm. We're going to work on brachioradialis. Go down to your patellar reflex. Other side. Go to your Achilles. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and have you stand up. We're going to do your pupillary reflexes here. This first one's going to be your reaction to direct light. And I'm going to shine this light in your eye. Just keep looking straight forward, please, for me. And the effect of direct light is for the pupil of the ipsilateral eye to constrict. And the sensory nerve for this would be C2. And the integration center would be the midbrain. Direct light on the side as well. Pupil constricts. Now we're going to go with the contralateral light or the indirect light. And I'm going to shine light on the left eye, and the contralateral eye is expected to have the pupil constrict. This is also testing the C2 root of nerve, and that is active. That is the sensory root in the ipsilateral eye, and the C3 nerve root would be the motor root, and that is being tested in the contralateral eye. Now I'm going to move on, and we are going to test your accommodation reflex. I'm going to have you look at this pen out here. And I'm going to have you look at this pen here, and I'm going to bring this pen to your note, to your face, and I'm going to have you follow this pen, okay? Testing to see that the eyelids are converging at the same rate, and both pupils should be constricting. Now I'm going to go ahead and have you sit down. Now we're going to check the oculocardiac reflex. So I'm going to have you go ahead and lay both your arms out on your lap like this. I'm going to go ahead and get a radial pulse here. I'm going to use my other hand and touch the top of the eye, and I'm going to feel for that radial pulse. Pulse is slowing down. The sensory root for this is C5, and that motor root the sensory nerve is cranial nerve 5, and the motor nerve is cranial nerve 10. And the integration center for this reflex is in the medulla of the brain. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to check the your carotid sinus reflex. And so I'm going to hold on your carotid sinus here. I'm going to get your pulse here. I'm going to hold on your carotid sinus. And that is going to make your pulse slow down. And sensory nerve for this is cranial nerve 9, and the motor nerve for this is cranial nerve 10, and the integration center for this is the medulla as well. And now I am going to look at the ciliospinal reflex. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have you sit just like that, and I am going to hold onto your shoulder like this. look straight forward. I'm going to be watching for pupils to constrict. You want that sympathetic nerve response to be elicited when you perform this procedure. And now I am going to continue with my visceral signs here. Let me check back in my lab manual. All right, and so from here we're going to move on to your visceral reflexes. And to begin your visceral reflexes, we're going to start with your gag reflex. If I was going to perform the gag reflex, I would use a tongue depressor, and I would move your tongue to the back, or I would move your tongue and I would touch the back of your throat, and that would elicit the gag reflex. The sensory nerve for this is cranial nerve 9, and the motor nerve is cranial nerve 10, and the integration center for this is also the medulla. And now I'm going to do the interscapular reflex test. So I'm going to go ahead and have you spin around and sit on that side with your back facing me. And I am going to take a brush here of some sort. And I'm going to go ahead and brush the inside of the rhomboids. Okay. And now I'm going to have you lay down on your back again. I'm going to test your abdominal reflex here, and would you mind lowering your waistband down from your belly button just a little bit? Awesome. I'm going to stroke the umbilicus into the belly button. Okay, you can go ahead and sit up. Actually, I apologize. I'll have you lay back down. I'm going to do your plantar reflex. So, plantar reflex, we're going to start at the bottom of the heel. And we're going to come up. And S motion. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and have you keep laying down here, and I'm going to test for the Babinski reflex. And with the Babinski reflex, what you're looking for is an abnormal reflex sign. The abnormal reflex sign is the continual spacing or pulling apart or contraction of toes after we are running these different tests here. This is a Babinski. All right, now we'll do Schaefer. Gordon. I'm going to do now ankle clonus. Now we will do another way of eliciting Babinski sign, which is Oppenheim sign. And the last thing we're going to be looking for is Tromner's sign. So you can go ahead and sit up for me. Go ahead, relax your arms, stick your palms out. All right. Checking for Tromner's reflex. All right, negative for Tromner's.